discussion, what is going on in the market, what can we, so my burning question is that with current students, like, it was that we used to apply, used to get interviews, you're done, life was good, but that's no longer holds true, because a lot of people got rescinded, and like, they are not going to use. Now we'll have to go extra mile for the students just to get the job, because to be at the par at like everybody else, right? So I just wanted to quickly, wanted to see, and also, so so first question is, what can we do, is my question. What can we do to, like, in the front end? So I just, is there any alternate technology that we can teach that is hot, that, what you guys see, what many candidates are lacking, that is very niche, that it's hard to fill up with, so just so you know, I'm just going to go through this. Okay, so what we teach students anyways is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React. So in JavaScript we have, obviously DOM manipulations, things like that. HTML, CSS, we go with SAS. React, we go React. We don't teach Redux anymore, but we teach React pretty in depth, and then the backend in Node, and then full stack, little bit application. And there are so many miscellaneous topics we have to cover that are actually not part of this, but like Git, NPM, Jira, Chrome Dev Tool, basic networking, SEO, regex, source maps. So this is what we cover. And then data structure is again optional for people. And this again, we have question bank. So this is what we teach. Okay. Now, so what are you guys thinking here? So give me your thoughts.
My first question.
Well, I guess
actually,
I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think maybe I can go first. Thank you.
Okay.
So my question to you would be like, you said that the market's changed and we need to go that extra mile, and people's offers are being rescinded. Like, why are they being rescinded? What trend have you seen that's different now?
I mean, trend, job is still hard. There are many jobs still out there. The only challenge is basically that it's that lot more candidates. Okay. So, and the people who already got the job in like, in fact, I think in Coinbase, I think they're like more than 50, 100 offers in this bunch of companies. If you see, most of them in tech. So if this is the layoff tracker, okay, that we kind of track because I have to, and this is kind of if you just go with non-US one, sorry, US, so US Superhuman, 23 people, Carbon Health, SFA 250, and most of them are in actually, Polygen 170, and these are all latest 6.4, 6.3, 6.2. So if you just look at in this, you get like good, if not less, and this is layoffs. Obviously, this is like another 2,000 engineers in the market. Other than that, offers that were rescinded, there are more than 2,000, 3,000 people whose offers were rescinded, who were about to join. So if they got the offer, that means they are already very good. So now we have about 4,000 to 5,000 pool of extra engineers that wasn't there before, that we're competing with, right? And you can see the list goes on, non-US, 100 people. So that's why I feel like the pool is much bigger. That means you have to compete a little bit harder. Okay, and that's how it's going to be. It's the reality. It's coming back to. So that's why I'm like looking at ways, what can we do, other than like, I want to like, first we'll go through technology wise, what do you guys see? What can we technology wise, then maybe marketing wise means like reaching out to potential employers. How do we reach out, or how can we get our students to be more employer, employer friendly? And so that's, yeah. So go ahead.
Searching like in terms of technology, like I'm talking in terms of like Ford, like where I'm working right now. So there, what I've seen is like they are actually moving like towards Vue.js. They did have like initially like a few of the like they still have few of the React projects,
Mhm.
but then they are actually moving those React projects also towards Vue. So that's what I saw at Ford.
Yeah. Okay. In the which client or were you at?
Oh, Ford Motors,
Ford. Okay. Okay.
Ford Motors.
Okay. Okay.
I agree with that perspective because, like me in my team as well, I'm making that push of moving away from WordPress and React and like moving to React or to Vue or to Next or like basically the next best thing, right? The latest thing. So I
Right.
think that move is accepted by a lot of other product managers in my company, and they're all moving away from like CMS based websites. So
What are
maybe some
the
experience of, trying to convert old websites to new websites would be something that a lot of companies might be looking for.
experience converting like older stack to more like either React or Vue kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say we're actually doing that right now for our company. So I work for a company that manages communications at the organization that we work for. So currently, we're not using WordPress, we're using Drupal, but it's definitely traditionally what you would call monolithic in that it's MVC, right? And so one of the initiatives that we've been asked is to modernize our communication platform because we don't have a lot of the latest, greatest capabilities. We don't even have a mobile application as an example. So starting at the end of this year, we're going to be researching some techniques for modernization. And I'll say in the little research I've done so far, I think the big thing that's important is actually architecture. So a lot of these patterns are all about decoupled architecture. So instead of like WordPress is traditionally monolithic in that it's MVC based, being more, decoupled, right? So Jamstack is a good example of that pattern that I think companies are starting to embrace in terms of, if you think about WordPress, that's a good example of an architecture pattern that people are starting to embrace. So we'll be looking into that. And I think Vue, in the Drupal community, they're looking at Vue as the new framework of their choice for that modernization. But I think whether it's Vue, React, or Angular or Svelte, there's a lot of modern options in the SPA world. But I just thought I'd mention that just to piggyback off what you were saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Avinash, you work on Vue, right? Vue or even Tianna, you said you work on Vue, right?
Yes. Right now in our company, whatever we build new components, we either build it in Vue or we build it in React. It actually depends upon which project that we build on, because we have different code bases. So yeah. Right now, we were just using like normal CS, HTML, C#, MVC as the architecture, and we actually use a CMS called Sitecore to like manage the content. So right now, whatever new components that we build, we are actually moving on to the latest Sitecore version, which is the JSS, which is like directly hooking up your CMS towards your JavaScript framework. It could be React, it could be Vue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, that was my thing also. I was thinking about like, so there's in the world of CMS, there are like two big ones, right? AEM and Sitecode, right? So Adobe Experience Manager, AEM and Sitecode, these two are big ones. So one thing I was thinking about, which will go very well with the bootcamp student, is because it's very hard to find people with Sitecore, and you just don't need Sitecore. That will go very well. I think this is one of the options I'm really seriously thinking, that pick one of them and add it to the course, because that will give them like a little bit of, a lot of people are using either Sitecore or AEM, so also, Yeah. So anyone has used this AEM Sitecore? Like, yeah?
Yeah, I've been working in Sitecore.
Okay.
I would say like there are two versions of Sitecore. One is the traditional way of building it, which is using a C# MVC pattern, where you need to teach C# to your developers and the MVC .NET framework to understand that. Otherwise, you could just like straight away go for the latest one, which is the Sitecore JSS, which is the JavaScript like services, which is like a headless CMS basically.
Oh, so I think this is also a hot topic, right? Headless CMS.
Yeah. The only thing is that in Sitecore, you have to get a license for each of your student. That might be a bit challenging.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know about AEM. And also there is one more new CMS called Sanity IO. I think like that's picking up really hot actually in the West
Yeah,
Coast.
I've heard of Sanity as well. Like my developer asked me to kind of implement it. It's pretty cool. It's also like a CMS, right?
Yes, it's also a headless CMS, and it's also, I think they give some amount of calls free. So at least I think it will be easy for to like just like pick it up in your syllabus.
Right. So one of our previous students, Aminur, he actually built his portfolio site, and I was like, "How did he build?" So this, he said, like he built it in sanity.io. So, and you don't even have to integrate. I like, how does his email go? Did you integrate any email gateway, anything? Nothing. I think everything is done. Like, I wish he was here. No, it's not here.
There's another one called Strappy, STRAPI. I haven't really dug into it too much, but there's a lot of modern JavaScript-based headless CMS systems coming out. So Strappy's one, and there's one called Payload, I believe that we're going to research, but there's a lot of good ones that I've seen written in Vue or React and Svelte. There's different flavors of them.
So my question would be, see, it's already a lot of material for bootcamp student to handle in like 6 weeks. Right. There's a lot of material, like it's in just,
yeah.
So what, like, and that, so you don't want to teach something new. So my question is, we have to build something which is complementary, which leverages React, leverages everything that we actually teach, instead of like putting in new, so otherwise it become almost impossible job to teach that in like 6 weeks, right? So that is my concern. Like, I mean, there's another something called Salesforce Lightning. I think I'd ask Prashant, like Salesforce Lightning also used, but also uses components. So another thing that is actually can be complementary to the front end. Okay. Anything else, guys? Anything else we can do? So I think the easiest one and the most in demand, the good future, I feel like I think we can bet on sanity.io. It's
Sachin, even is Sanity.io like a node-based headless CMS, like JavaScript?
Actually, I have never played along with it. What the hell is it? Structured content platform, unified that powers better digital experiences. Oh, so Netlify is based on that Figma. Oh, they all are based on Sanity. Interesting. I actually don't know. I have to like see what it is and why is it so getting so popular. Okay. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it is. It is JavaScript based though.
Okay.
Yeah, it is 100% Java.
I mean, there are many reasons why it's popular, Sachin, or actually, it's. I mean, the reason people are moving away from like monolithic CMSs is that firstly, it's not fast. It's not like it's it's a platform that it's a one-stop shop for all your demands, right? But as your demands grow as a company, like you need modern documentation softwares for your writers, or you need better marketing platforms, like then these CMSs are not enough. Then you start splitting your side apart, start getting an in-house product documentation software, you start getting modern marketing platforms like Marketo and stuff. And then you need to start integrating with these CMSs. So, they're not that flexible. Especially the biggest reason we're moving away from WordPress are the plugins, the plugin updates, and they're pretty huge. And the platform in itself is kind of old and it's not updated frequently. So it poses a big security risk, essentially, having all these plugins continuously being updated. So for security challenges, it makes sense to move away from any traditional CMSs. And also they're very slow, like your websites are slower. There are more plugins that you can integrate to like increase the page load speed or the scroll speed and stuff. But again, the more plugins, the worse it is from a cybersecurity perspective. All the more reason to push towards all of these new technologies away from CMSs in general.
Okay. All right. So let me just go through the curriculum, and based on, Lee, what is that? What do the students like? Where do you see, and everyone, like you have interviewed some candidates, I guess recently, where is that must-haves? What do you feel like candidates must have that, that are like, you definitely check before you say, and what are like maybe nice to have, but if you don't have it, you're like, okay, So what do you think is like must-haves where you actually say, hey, we're not going to hire this guy because he doesn't know this must-have? And let's talk about just front end, like full stack, kind of more on a heavier front end roles, a little bit less on the back end. But yeah, anybody who has interviewed. Anyone? You guys didn't get the pizza, I guess. Not speaking it. Who got the pizza? Akash?
I haven't interviewed anyone yet.
So Akash also, I introduced him to BlackRock, and he is actually starting at next week.
Oh yeah, like next week Monday, and then the week after that I'll be moving to Miami.
Okay, so when you went to the BlackRock interview recently, but that was like for full stack. What kind of interview was it? Where what questions did, and how were you able to crack it?
So my first round was related to lead coding questions. Like they were like easy level questions there. Then the second round was with the product team, and then mostly it was like behavioral, like how like things work in a sprint, and then like how do you like resolve conflicts, or if you want to have a change request, or like those kind of things. Then the third one was like core React interview. And then he asked me to design a game there in React, like a simple card game. But then what he was trying to check was related to this thing, like how I'm using the classes, or like how I'm declaring state variables, then the life cycle methods over there. That was the main focus as compared to like CSS and other stuff.
So you use like the old version of React?
Oh no, I actually use like the one with hooks.
Hooks, okay. Okay. So this we kind of know this is, these are so basically, like from your experience, Avinash, and all of you, like what do we learn and what you actually got through the interviews? We need to, I want to do, see, I think we're evenly focused on all the topics, which doesn't make sense, because if you ask anyone, you'll easily know that, is everybody familiar with 80-20 principle? Rajvi probably knows. Rajvi reads a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sure that with the bootcamp, we can get like 80% result if we focus on this 20% of our activities. And I want to figure out what the hell that 20% is. So what are those 20% activities that actually will generate 80% of our placements? And let's talk about technology wise. We'll talk about a little bit later on like marketing students, how to maybe guerrilla marketing, whatever. We'll talk a little bit later how to actually, like get them an interview. But this is just how do they prepare them is, come on guys. Who got the pizza by the way? Akash, did you get the pizza?
Oh, not yet. Like I did get a text message, so maybe it's on the way.
Rajvi, Avinash, you guys got the pizza?
Yeah, I just went and picked it up from a door.
Okay, now you have energy. Tianna, got the pizza? No? You got a text message or something?
No.
All right. You're not speaking, so all right. So what would be that 80%? Come on, guys. I mean, again, guys, don't think I am, this is the brainstorming. Say any shit you want. I don't care. Because that shit will generate some other things. Just say whatever you want to say. Okay. So because this is not an interview, you already are placed. So, you just tell me what you think are that 20% of the activity which will generate 80% of the results for the bootcamp students. And we'll focus more time on that.
I got a quick question for you. Isn't lead code, or is lead code out the equation, or do you do that in your program?
Actually, we do not do that, but I'm thinking more and more that, we should definitely integrate that.
Got you. Because it sounds, I mean, but based on my what I've been hearing is, obviously that's a fundamental part of it is lead code. But what would be interesting, I think, would be is if you get like I think you may already do this, but have a structured project that where you can show employees, hey, this is what our students are building. This is the pull request. This is when people get to see the code that your students are contributing to. I think that would be a good idea. Just throwing it out there.
Okay, that's a good idea. Anything else?
I would say like nowadays many companies are like using like cloud service providers. It would be good if you include AWS or Azure DevOps and integrate that as a pull request, like creating a pipeline, creating a release, like a continuous integration and all. Yeah, so like many companies do like ask if you have any experience in that. That's what I've experienced.
Okay, Avinash, that part you're gonna cover in the bootcamp now. I mean, how long will it take? Like maybe like if we create a material, just keep the lab. Okay, you log into Microsoft, create a pipeline, simple pipeline, create a GitHub. It should not take like that long, right?
Yeah, it's like everything will just come under Azure. Like you will have a Azure repo, and then you have to just hook things up with your pipeline, and then just like creating a YAML file with all the steps that you have to do. So it should not be that bad.
Yeah, I think 4 hours should be enough.
Yeah, I think 4 hours.
But we need to create I actually tried to do that, and I got a Microsoft error, some that you need licenses or something. That's something.
I think Microsoft will give free credits for students. I think it's like a $200 credit, I think.
I think, Sachin, you need a crash course with Avinash first, get up to speed.
Yeah. There's so much out there, you're like, okay, I'm reading this, and then this new shit comes out, and you're like, whatever. Okay. Tianna, you're quiet. I want to hear what you have to say.
I was just thinking that the idea of converting like an older application to a new one is a really good idea, because my job now is there's just a lot of legacy code. It's like AngularJS. So we're rewriting a lot of applications. So being able to do that is usually helpful, because I think just like updating and making sure sites are secure is important too. Security, even like on the front end. Yeah.
So, but how would we create that? Because obviously these legacy code and legacy sites are very complex, right? So how do we create that, mini legacy into, because it's really not gonna like, we cannot do that in like in 6-7 weeks. So plus we don't have that ability to create that kind of complex environment, like, anyways, right? So how do we overcome that challenge? How do we simulate a complex environment getting converted to like recent code?
Yeah, maybe not the whole complex app, but if you had like a small portion of it, like a library or just a component to be able to see the older technologies and then remake it.
Or such like maybe like a simple project which is done in like vanilla JS, and then like we convert it into like using like ES6 or like other frameworks.
What is this? Simple?
A simple project which is like based off of vanilla JS,
Okay.
like nothing, no frameworks or no ES6 functions, and then we convert that like a vanilla JS project into a new ES6, ES7, whichever, or like with a framework also.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe. Yeah. I think that this is doable. Like so simple, simple projects. So we have to create a simple project and then we can convert that. So, but like, okay, cool.
I think the goal is to first like have the students be very confident in their interviews for their ability to be able to do this, because this is not something interviewers give as a coding exercise, like here is legacy code, go convert it, right? So I think at that time, your attitude, your personality, your motivation counts more, your confidence. And once you get the job, of course, like you need to get in there, spend a month to try to, do these kind of projects where you convert them. But in order to gain that confidence, maybe as I think Akash said, you need to have these small, simple projects where people feel confident to move from vanilla to next or view or anything. And I think this is such a popular thing to do that there are so many examples online. I'm pretty sure you'll find exercises with answers online on how to convert from vanilla to view or something else,
Right. Actually, that's true. I'm sure that we can find somebody already created it. Actually, you can find some courses also. I think I'd like to put one guy just to look at all the courses possible on Udemy or anything, because somebody has did it. I'm sure there's thousands of courses online, LinkedIn Learning. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay. I think that makes sense. Okay. Anything else we want to add before we move on to kind of, from your experience, last chance, anything else? My thing was okay, here's what I'm thinking. Okay, if you just, and I just did a lot of analysis on this. I looked at the question banks, and these are the same question bank. In fact, I might have your name also, like Tanishana, like probably you guys gave me the list. Some of them is actually your writing. I'm sure can see Tianna's writing. Tianna sent a lot of questions. So when I look at the same questions being asked over and over again, it like really, this is, I think, Avinash's. So same questions. So my thinking is, here's what I am thinking. That 80-20 thing is going on by brain. So I just want to make sure I am doing the right thing. Is most of the questions are repetitive. Same oops thing, same callback, same. Okay, so there is no, questions are repetitive. That's one thing. So you can easily prepare. So we can have 1 hour every day, start preparing the mock interviews. That's number one. Number two, most of the people they will ask you to create either a JavaScript or React, some kind of thing, right? Some small project in either React, mostly half of the time React, half of the time JavaScript. And a lot of problem solving, hacker rank you have to crack. So I'm thinking we're going to put like maybe week time just on lead code or kind of problems to actually, so that they feel very confident in the end. So that is what I'm thinking, that, instead of focusing, that's why I took out the Redux, because Redux is, I think, is advanced concept. It was taking a lot of time, so we'll just kind of focus on the basics. JavaScript, React, a lot of hands-on, I also changed the strategy a little bit. So now I don't teach. So we basically, our strategy is now that you watch the video home, and then we do the exercises in the class together. We do everything in hands-on in the class. Okay. Because a lot of this material that I'm going to teach is already online. There is no value as such, and it is much better than what I would teach. And this, I have to accept it. It is what it is. I teach very well, but it's still what it is. The material is much better online, and so why not use that material? So here's what we're doing, like last couple of times, we're actually asking students to, like, kind of go through the material, and then we do hands-on in the class. We just do a lot of hands-on. So that has been okay strategy. So that is what I am thinking about, and spending much more time, maybe lead code, lead code we do some problems, but I think spend much more time on that is what I'm thinking. What are you guys thought about?
I have an opinion here. It's a very new opinion. So we look for front-end engineers that are, I think they have some design experience.
Okay.
When I say design experience, they just have an eye for design, or they work really well with designers. So we don't want a front-end developer who has a lot of development experience, but doesn't work well in giving feedback to the designer on what's the most efficient design out there, right, for the page. Maybe there might be a better way, just by removing like one component, a small component. Maybe the developer can save like a day worth of work, because it's all, code doesn't exist for it. Or maybe he has to spend a lot of hours trying to change something small, which is not worth it. So someone who has an eye for design or experience working with designers would be great. And like, I just hired a developer myself, and there was someone, like the new developer, he keeps telling me like, oh, I want to know more about design. I want to get a chance to learn more design, so that he doesn't look foolish in front of my stakeholders as well. People like the ability to be able to pitch or give in meetings, and developers are usually quiet in terms of design and requirements. So, I mean, that's my experience with them. Some might get offended here. No offense to anyone, but this is what I've seen.
So how do we actually like simulate that experience for the students? Like, how do we simulate that working well with designer? Like, what can I give them? Say, now you can work well with designer. What can we do for that? Like, maybe I can add like a 2-hour session to like Figma session, I guess, maybe, or something.
I think the goal is not to know how to use Figma or anything. That's pretty easy.
Right.
And they can learn on the job. The goal is just to, I think, have a UX, kind of bring in a UX designer to talk about user experience, right? So or like some videos on Udemy or something that talk about the best design practices and standards would be enough. Like, not about CSS as such, not about how to build things, that's already included, but just stuff like user experience, how to have a good eye on that.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool, that was a good point. I think I'm going to add one, like a 2-hour session, just to, cool. What else?
Recently, I actually noticed that accessibility is actually becoming a big thing. So I would say all the accessibility tags, keyboard navigation, like the tab indexes, we should make sure like that's really important while a developer is actually building a reusable component with all the ARIA labels, the roles, and all the stuff, because like some devs just miss that when they actually develop that, and then the code just goes in, and then we don't like look into that afterwards. And then when they have some accessibility issues or like some lawsuit comes up, then it's going to be an issue. So
Okay. Cool. I think that was also great. I think SEO and accessibility are pretty big. Accessibility is really becoming, a lot of students are telling me they're getting a lot of questions. So I think we'll spend a little bit more time on accessibility, just make sure, like, more hands-on, other than just, okay, cool. That was a good point. Anything else? How about I'm just going to go through topics. So if something comes up your mind, I'm just going to go through, like some of the topics, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. React.
So Sachin, so in like JavaScript, like are any specific ES6 or ES7 features being there?
Yeah. So there's a
Like the entire package. Okay.
yeah, we do. ES6 is there. Like, definitely, I think ES6 is pretty important.
I mean, plugins. I think you have plugins already, right? But
Plugins.
having plugins, yeah, experience utilizing plugins. Like, for example, Avinash brought up the point for accessibility. But I mean, as a product manager, I would just be like, okay, instead of coding accessibility from scratch, there's a platform called Accessible, I think. That's pretty good. And I just want to integrate that on my website. So I would want a developer who has experience doing things like that.
yeah, to add more to what just Rajvi said, even like in our company, we use a third party called Accessible. So
Access.
Accessible, ACCEBIE, I think.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about too, Avinash.
Yeah. So it's like the dev should have like the skills or like the communication skills to interact with the team or with their tech team when they're in the discussion, to ask more questions on like how to integrate that with the platform that they have. Like, yeah, like basically interfacing it with a third party app. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. All right, cool. All right. So if you have any other suggestion, guys, please let me know. From the side. So let's move on to a little bit of a marketing side, like, where, and obviously all of you know how we do stuff. And since you have been all successful, it was easy before, but now I'm preparing that in case shit goes down the drain, I will still want our student to get job. So we have to, like, I'm getting the battle chest ready. So so what like we used to do, what we used to do for you guys, right? Is there anything else we can do to, some hacks how to get into like employers, that we can, you just tell me the tricks, I'll put a guy who will do it for you. So just tell me some tricks how to get into like companies, database or things like that.
Number one is what I use myself. That's how I got my job, is through LinkedIn, right? Usually, I think you should have someone from marketing who will reply to recruiters who come approach a student on LinkedIn. Sometimes students might miss it or they might reply late. Because I remember the company OpenVPN, my company, they tried to recruit me, but they spent 2.5 weeks because I was busy doing other things, I think. And I kept replying once in 4 days. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll reschedule the interview, this, that. And I think they still held on to me. And luckily it was meant to be. But I think I could have done this way quicker if I would have just responded quicker. So maybe someone who continuously responds to recruiter messages on LinkedIn would be a great one. Because they approach you, right? So you definitely know that you have the upper hand here.
Right. Maybe we should use your tricks. Maybe we should be like that girl or guy who's hard to get. you know.
Yeah. I already had another job offer. So I was like, hey guys, I'll be leaving my job for you. You better like double my salary.
Maybe that's why they were, oh, she's hard to get, less,
Just
they
like
want
in relationships.
that's right. So they want you more, all right, cool. Cool. I was just let's go. So yeah, okay. Other than like, I mean, so we already do that for you, we already do that for you. So, so that is not a problem at all. We always do the LinkedIn. We do have people who will monitor and all that. So we actually already do that. So anything else that
Well, you could actually have your students to have like a website portfolio or something where they have all their projects that they built displayed. So when they apply, they can just give, they can also add the link when they apply that, because the recruiters or the hiring managers would actually love to see their coding style or their projects, like what they built, if they want to reach out. That.
okay. All right, what else? Anything else? Kid saying everybody got the pizza.
Just like feedback I've got before is that being active on your GitHub, because a lot of companies ask to see your GitHub, being active on it, it's always a good thing.
Yeah.
So they can see that you put on work and learn.
Okay. Anything else? So this is more like, how do we like get the interview? Like, how do you get in front of, maximum, you know,
Maybe attend conferences. I know people have like student discounts to dev conferences, or maybe even free conferences for students. So that would be nice. I know GitHub has one. I used to attend that. And all these companies, they come there to hire people all the time. So
okay. So what, as a company, what we can do? Like, I can do, okay. So we have the, we have the manpower, so we can find, so we can do anything. We can just say, hey, what, we can put one guy to say, research all the conferences and register all our students, and then let the student know, hey, we are already registered you. So go and attend, and then like network kind of, I guess.
yeah, that's exactly it. I think it will really help them in other ways as well. They'll know how other developers, professional ones, behave, how they talk, interact. Maybe their lingo would matter, right? So that you don't want someone to feel like, oh, this person's new in the industry. So, and you can just possibly in the future, if they're interviewing for that company, one thing that's helped me is I used to go and reach out to people who work for that company on LinkedIn before my interview. And I would ask them how it's like working there and everything. And depending on their feedback, I mean, there would be more targeted questions, not like, how is it like working there in general? But during my interview, I would mention that. I'd be like, yeah, I spoke to some people from the company. These are the names. And they've always asked me, what are the names? They'd be like, oh, you have? So they know I've already done my research, and that is why I'm prepared for this interview. I'm excited to work with them.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Cool. I just want to go one more thing before the technology. Like, what are like must-have these days? Like anything that you guys are working on, which you guys are looking for, but you cannot find people. Anything in your team that you guys are looking for some kind of guy, and hard time here finding that guy with like specific skill set, maybe combination of skill set.
Yes, someone with experience in both CMS and React. Yeah, that's difficult to find. It's either or, and people have experience with they probably had worked on WordPress like 10 years ago or some CMS, you know, and they don't remember it. So that's one thing.
Yeah. So more and more, I'm thinking like this. My intuition is right. I think we need to put a little bit of CMS, this AEM or site code, because that'll be a game changer. Okay, that will be game changer means that somebody who knows front end pretty well and also knows site code is, I think, much desirable than like just plain front end. So I think that is where I'm actually leaning towards. So you are just validating my point. Good. I think it makes sense to mix. It made
I
sense.
think PHP as well, because if you're learning a CMS, you need to know PHP, right? So
Yeah.
go hand in hand. It's difficult to find people who know React and stuff, who are great at it and know PHP. Then there's also cloud. It's difficult to find people with experience in cloud in general, and like cloud developers or like software developers, you know, like some experience with web development and software development, because there are some things like there are some parts on a website where you have to integrate the software with the app, the website, right? So experience with that, like very less experience, but experience with that would be good.
Got it. Okay. Okay, cool. Anything else, guys? So any technology or any difficult combination that we can achieve, like technology wise?
I can actually say the combination of QA and the dev. Because I've actually seen like many companies doesn't want to hire like a specific QA. So even in like my company, like we don't have a QA, so it's like the dev who actually does the like the testings, and also it's like to have that specific, that mentality from like how you built it on like how you can break it. That thing, and some unit testing also.
Got it. Got it. We actually have a QA practice. In fact, if you see, or we have a full dedicated QA practice. In fact, a lot of people recently got job in, if you see Monali, automation engineer QA. We know Vijaya, Reshma, QA is like business test. So we have the capability as such with QA. But I don't know how far we can go with QA, because so you have in QA your manual testing, and you're talking about manual testing, not automation, right? You're not talking about the Selenium, all that, right?
No. I'm not talking about all those automations. I'm talking like basically writing a unit test for your component. If like so and so input is given, so and so output should like it's the accepted part, and also like manual testing as well, like different use cases and all those stuff. Yeah.
See, what you're saying is two different things. So manual testing is different, right? And then the unit testing is different. So typically we as developer, we write unit test case. It has always been like that, right? The unit test is written by developers and manual test is written by full-time testers. And you know, the case, or you could test cases, right? Which has like, if I do this, then it should happen this. If it's fail, negative, alternate, happy path, sorry path, all that, like that's a test case, right? So,
Yeah.
so you're saying focus on this one or this one?
I'm saying both.
Both.
Yeah.
I think I can add, like, we have very good QA trainers, so we can add. We already actually have all the videos on fact. If you see, we already have the full QAs, so maybe we can just we actually have all the QA from our instructors. So we can do that maybe. So this is like QA, quality SDLC VV model, software testing types, non-functional unit testing, white box, scenario testing, interview quest, RM, bug cycle, the test cycle, test plan, severity, priority. This is what you're talking about? Like this is kind of.
Yeah, like to give some like a high level context, like the developer should know like there are some like specific like use cases that we have to test, something like that. And also like the because like many devs, they just like because when they actually develop, they don't think like if how can a user might break it or like something like that. So it's like basically their code. So it's like if you say anything about your code, you will get frustrated, obviously. So it's, I would say it's like more of a mentality switch, and it's like the expectations, and like it's like a mindset when you develop. Maybe like that would help. Like even on the pad programming interview rounds, that other dev may ask that is there like a good way to implement that or something, or would it have like a happy path or something like that. I'm just like giving a context. I'm not like
Got it.
details, but yeah.
Okay. Okay, no worries. I think the final, I just want to, so that's fine. I think if you have any ideas, please message me anyways. I'm always open, and but at the final, I want to just say this is not technical, this is not so, like lead generation. So this is the generation for Wynisco as such. Any ideas you have for like as a student, right? What as a company would like to see, other than obviously success stories that like we help, but how would you know about us? How would you lead generation? So lead generation is obviously, if you don't know the sales, I'm sure if so lead generation is obviously generating the leads for the business, and every business obviously needs, right? Like for us, the leads are the students who come to a boot camp, right? So that is the lead generation. So I wanted to see what are of any other ideas you have for lead generation for us, like as a student, when before you join, after you join, what would you like to see that we do well, that you would actually consider like, joining, number one. So, and then what are the avenues? So,
I think it would be nice for you to partner or just be in touch with professors in universities. I know there are so many professors who want to help students, but they don't, well, they might not have the right resources. They're always open to opportunities which help their students get jobs. So,
okay.
Yeah. My 2 cents would be you posting on LinkedIn, I think is a really good idea. And you post a lot of knowledge about like in just the immigration side of jobs too. So that's a good resource. And we'll attract students.
I'm just going to call like a couple of people here that actually are new. So Harsha and Abhishek, can you tell me how you found us, and what if you decide to continue? So bootcamp is starting tomorrow. If you do decide to continue, what would you like to see? And first of all, how did you find about us?
Yeah, so in my case, actually, one of our family friends knew Kate Key.
Oh, okay.
So through this, I found her number.
Okay.
And I found this course is very interesting. And anyways, I want to, in my summer, I wanted to learn new things. So this is a good way. So that's why I decided to continue with this.
Okay, Abhishek.
Yeah, I found this course on LinkedIn actually. Means through your contact, means I connected with you on LinkedIn, and then I got to know that there is a Wynisco. Yeah, yesterday, day before yesterday, I attended your webinar related to this. So I want to learn new things in summer also. That's why.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else has anything? How do we get more students? Like a lot of students don't know about us actually. So they just go to consultancies. So that's wanted to find out how we can like, what is that more things we can do.
There's also student associations, right? In school, we had, like, I was a part of the ISA, Indian Students Association of my university, and a lot of others as well. So you can find students who could broadcast your message in these WhatsApp groups or Facebook groups.
Got it. Okay. Anybody else has anything else they want to discuss? So Sugam, you're like, so Sugam, we're marketing Sugam, right? So obviously Sugam is excellent engineer. So Rajvi, if you need the best guy, Sugam is really, in fact, Lee actually almost hired him. In fact, Lee, he came down to Raleigh, Cary. So he's a really good guy if you need. Sugam, you there, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so Rajvi, Akash, everyone, if you need somebody really good, I would recommend Sugam. He's really good.
I've guys in chat, I've posted the link to my careers page for my company and also my email. So if you guys find something interesting, just email me.
Yeah, I just actually take a look at there, and I saw that the web developer is required like 3 years of experience on that.
Oh no, it's actually a web UI UX designer.
Oh, yeah,
that's from my team. Like, I'll be the hiring manager for that. So I'm hiring a designer, so if anyone's interested.
We have one previous student who's looking here. She has 2 years if you want to hire her. Siddhi Rote.
Oh, I know Siddhi. Yeah, we went to the same university.
Yeah, Siddhi. Okay, cool. Siddhi, and there's Gayatri is also Gayatri is really good. I mean, she's very good. I like her. She's very smart girl. Should definitely consider. Okay. All right, cool. Anything else, guys? Any questions? Anything that, like, overall, forget about like now the agenda, just anything you have concerns, any questions, anything you want to, for any suggestions for it. So, anything you want to discuss.
Surgeon, like, so for Sugam, like, what tech stack is he referring to? Like, looking at
React.
React. Okay. I can check with this thing, like, with the proficient, like, if they have anything.
Okay, yeah, check with him. Yeah. See if you can get him in before you get out.
Yeah.
You can say, hire him, I'm leaving, bye-bye. All right. Anybody else has anything, any questions? Harsha or new students, you have any questions for these people? We're closing in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I have one question. After doing boot camp, what do you think when you join a company, what things you faced or problem you faced, or yeah, can you do you want to share this? Because it is like a new grad or fresher, right? So yeah. Do you feel confident after doing the boot camp and join the company?
I would say in the beginning, it would be a learning experience. So you have to put some extra effort to get things done, or like to understand the code base at your company. But I would say it should be pretty easy with the training that you get from this bootcamp.
Okay, and about the lead code, do you think most of the company or every company asked lead code in the first round?
Not exactly in the first round itself. They will ask lead code. Maybe like it would be like a technical, like a speaking screening, or like just like a normal conversation with your manager, like your hiring manager or something. But I would say, yeah, lead code problems. Yeah, you will get problems like that, like a pair programming round, or like they'll just like look at your screen and you have to just like solve that problem and like walk them through the steps as you do.
Okay, and for the like a front-end engineer, did you face any assessment tests or something? first assessment test
Yeah,
online?
depending upon the companies, you will get assessments before the interview itself, and if you like pass the assessment, then only you will go to the next round.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Harsha, you cannot escape assessments and you cannot escape the lead code. There's no escape.
Yeah, actually, why I'm asking, I heard about some of the friends or something. They said like no data structures and all. Maybe ask on less asked in the front end interviews, and that's why actually I confused. So wanted to clear that.
Yeah, I mean, you can escape with data structures, but you cannot
Okay.
escape. You have to do problem solving somewhere.
Yeah.
Either you have to write React code or you have to write some JavaScript, some stupid puzzles, like, like you have to, there's no way around it. You have to,
Okay.
you won't get a job. Very simple.
I think for me, Arsha, you can't escape data structures. However, even if you go for a senior position, I have hired people with 5 to 7 years of experience. And the first thing I ask them are like questions about Java object-oriented programming or data structures, just like a few questions to start off. So
Yeah.
the basic ones you can't escape, like what is a binary tree or something like that,
Yeah, got it here.
Okay, guys, cool. I think thank you so much for having. If you one last chance, if you have anything, just ask. One of the things you guys need to learn is like, I mean, like Rajvi. I mean, she's pretty outspoken, and I can say that outspoken people make more money than not so outspoken.
No, Sachin, you're too kind. That's not always true, guys.
It's always true. So you have to be able to, put out there and just say what you need to say. Okay, cool, guys. I think if you don't have any more questions, I will close it down.
Sachin, I want to talk to you personally. So if you want to stay back, do you want me to call you on your phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Enjoy your pizzas and take care.
Thank you, Sachin.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Sachin.